moment Jesus cried out, "My God, why have you forsaken me?" changed everything we thought we knew about sacrifice and redemption. But what happened in those final moments was far more revolutionary than most people realize.
You know what's fascinating about that cry? It wasn't just an expression of pain. It was actually quoting Psalm 22, written centuries before.
Well, that's exactly what makes this so incredible. Even in what might have been his darkest moment, Jesus was fulfilling prophecy. But let's be clear, this wasn't just some theological exercise. The pain was real, the separation was real. We're talking about the weight of every sin ever committed crushing down on one person.
Hmm. But here's something to consider. Moments later, Jesus said, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." That suggests the separation wasn't complete, doesn't it?
That's actually a really good point. But it doesn't make what happened any less significant. The physical torture was designed to be as painful and humiliating as possible. And then there's what happened right after the moment Jesus died. It was like nature itself couldn't stay quiet.
Right. And let's talk about that temple veil for a moment. We're talking about a 60-foot high, 4-inch thick barrier that literally tore in half.
And not just any tear, it ripped from top to bottom, which is huge because it means this wasn't human made. This was divine intervention. The symbolism is just incredible. At the exact moment Jesus died, the barrier between God and humanity was literally torn apart.
That timing really is remarkable. And what about the reports of the dead coming back to life? That's one of the most extraordinary parts of the account.
Oh my goodness, yes, like actual dead people were walking around Jerusalem. Some scholars think these might have been the ones Jesus led out of captivity when he ascended later. But either way, it's like death's power was already starting to break. And you know what's fascinating? All of these events, the darkness, the earthquake, the torn veil, the resurrected saints, they were all predicted in ancient prophecies.
Well, that's what makes this story so unique. It's not just about what happened, but how it was all foretold.
Exactly. And let's talk about what this meant for the sacrificial system. In one moment, thousands of years of religious practice essentially became obsolete. No more need for animal sacrifices, no more need for a high priest to make atonement, no more separation between God and his people. Everything changed in an instant.
The implications were absolutely revolutionary. The entire way people related to God was transformed.
And here's what really gets me. This was both a cosmic event and an intensely personal one. This was God himself experiencing human death, feeling human pain, all because he loved us enough to do whatever it took to bridge that gap. The personal nature of it is just, it's overwhelming when you really think about it.
So, what do you think is the most significant aspect of all this? The prophecies being fulfilled, the supernatural events, the personal sacrifice?
I think what makes it so powerful is how all those elements work together. The prophecies give it credibility, the supernatural events demonstrate divine power, and the personal sacrifice shows God's love. But there's something else too. The fact that we're still discovering new layers of meaning 2,000 years later. Every time we dig deeper, there's more to understand.
That's what makes it such a living story, isn't it? It's not just historical fact, it's this ever-unfolding revelation.
Exactly. And when you think about it, this was really just the beginning. The death was world changing, but it was setting up something even more extraordinary: the resurrection. Death wasn't the end of the story, it was the setup for the greatest plot twist in history.
Well, that really puts everything we've discussed in perspective. The death itself was revolutionary, but it was just the first act.
And that's why this story continues to captivate people after all these centuries. It's not just about what happened then, it's about what it means for us now, what it means for humanity's relationship with God, what it means for our understanding of love and sacrifice. The implications just keep unfolding.